Na 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 leader. Na 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 leader. 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 Batman. I mean leader.
Okay then. Is that all we get?
It's another one of the series of obscure Simpsons songs.
Right, I kind of got the impression it might be, but I don't think I know that one.
Well, it's topical considering Harry Shearer left The Simpsons this week.
Dun dun dun!
If you were not aware, The Simpsons, for some bizarre reason, is still going.
Yeah, I was going to say I was vaguely aware of that news. Mostly a couple of people like, "Hey, I can do the voices of The Simpsons. I could do that on Facebook and stuff." And I was like, "Well, what are you talking about?" Oh, there's a person left. Okay, very good. Well, maybe they'll stop making the bloody things now.
No chance. The Simpsons will outlive you.
That's likely, actually. Yes, that seems like a very reasonable thing. Yeah. Okay. So. Anyway, are you going to replace Harry Shearer, or are you going for his job?
I'm waiting by the phone.
You're waiting. Oh, you're waiting for them to call you. You're just.
Yeah,
you're that good. You don't go to them; they come to you.
I don't chase people up for things. I just expect them.
Right. Okay.
I'm the man that brings updates on Barry Chuckle. Damn it! I have options.
Well, that is. I'm pretty sure that's the talent they were looking for to replace one of the longest-running cast of The Simpsons.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Has he been in that since the start?
Yeah, I think the whole played on there since the
So
start.
that's like 20-something, 22?
The
seasons?
Simpsons started in 1990, and I think they're on season 26.
26, is it? Jeez. I thought someone said there was only like 22. This is ridiculous. No. No. You were wrong. Google has the answer. It started in 1989.
Good lord, that's
December 1989, so you weren't far off, but hey.
And ironically, there's only been like 4 or 5 Simpson games.
Have they really? I feel like there should have been more. What have they made?
There was the Simpsons wrestling one that I remember.
Simpsons wrestling was amazing.
Simpsons Formula 1 type game. The name escapes me.
I'm finding quite a lot on Wikipedia, actually. There are Simpsons arcade game, Bart vs. the Space Mutants, Bart's House of Weirdness, Bart Simpson's Escape from Camp Deadly, Bart vs. the World, Bart vs. the Juggernauts, Bartman meets Radioactive Man, Bart's Nightmare, The Itchy and Scratchy Game, Krusty's Fun House, Virtual Bart, Itchy and Scratchy in Miniature Golf Madness, Bart and the Beanstalk, The Simpsons Cartoon Studio, Virtual Springfield, The Simpsons Bowling, Night of the Living Treehouse of Horror, Simpsons Wrestling, naturally, Simpsons Road Rage, Simpsons Skateboarding, another Road Rage, I guess. It's on the list twice. That's kind of strange. I guess it's Game Boy version. It was a different thing.
Okay.
Simpsons Hit and Run, The Simpsons Game, Minutes to Meltdown, Itchy and Scratchy Land, The Simpsons Arcade, and Tapped Out.
Yeah, but for a series that's been going 26 years.
That's more than 6, though.
Okay, yes, I'm wrong.
That's 27, actually.
Can we rewind the podcast and go back? The Simpsons have made lots of games.
They started that pretty quick as well. I mean, since they launched the TV show in 1989, they got on the video game. The first Simpsons on video game was 1991. They got on that pretty quick fast.
Yeah, that Matt Groening.
Yeah, I didn't realize it quite. It must have had a fairly. It must have been a fairly successful launch, I guess, of The Simpsons. It must have been a fairly explosive growth to get into arcades that fast. Although I guess maybe it was the arcade era, and it was the point in time when everything was an arcade game.
It wasn't until when the show introduced Hans Moleman, that's when it took off.
Yes, Simpsons arcade game in a stunning 288 by 224 resolution, with 2,048 colors.
Wow.
It's lots of colors, and it runs on a Konami 3 megahertz processor.
That's not even a thing, is it?
Apparently it was a thing, yes. And it comes with a 4 megahertz sound chip.
My god.
My god, indeed. That's fantastic.
I would like to find this game now. I'm
I
intrigued.
was going to say, we'll have to acquire one for Button Mash. I want to stood in the corner.
Yeah, just see if it runs.
Surprisingly enough, Tulkas is also present for this podcast.
He's sitting very quietly in the corner. Are you not able to weigh in on Simpsons discussion?
He's playing the...
Tulkas does not know about The Simpsons now.
How do you not know about The Simpsons? God damn it, kids these days.
If it's 26 years old, that it's existed for...
It's older than you, yes.
Yeah, that's 11 years longer than I've been alive, yeah.
Good lord, that's terrifying. Admittedly, it's only 2 years less than I've been alive, but hey.
So yeah, almost half of my life, almost half of Simpsons has not existed simultaneously with the Tulkas. So yeah.
Anyway,
yeah. Not know that much from this, yeah.
Yeah, welcome to Button Mash Podcast.
Rejoice!
That's 5 minutes of talking about The Simpsons before we even said hi, Tulkas.
Well, we've done worse.
We actually have done worse. Yes, welcome to the podcast, Tulkas.
Hello.
Will is not joining us this week because Will is medicated up to the eyeballs, I believe.
Yeah, but I believe he's seeing rabbits at the moment.
Yeah. So we replaced him with Tulkas.
Bunnies! Yay!
Oh, you mentioned small fluffy animals to Tulkas. Why did you do that?
I forgot about the last podcast, I'm sorry.
The travesty that was the cavalcade of small fluffy animals.
But no, it was a game, I remember. There was like 1 million dogs or something, and it was so exciting for me.
You were talking, I guess that would have been the domestic dog simulator?
Yeah, that one. It was just like, it was like thousands and thousands of dogs. Puppy.
Well, if we must continue down this route, can we talk about how Cat Lateral Damage is coming out in a week and a half?
Alrighty.
Ooh, looking forward to that one, John.
I actually am, yes. Admittedly, it's already been done in several forms before, but hey, it's a game where you're a cat and your objective is to destroy as much stuff in the house as you can before your owners get home.
It's a bit like I Am Breader, then.
Yeah, there was a minigame that had that exact theme. It literally was, you are a cat and you need to destroy everything before the time runs out, in Jazz Punk. And at that time, I knew about Cat Lateral Damage. For some reason, Cat Lateral Damage seems to have been in development for a while. I've showcased it like a couple of PAXs now. For such a fairly simple game, at least I believe it's fairly simple, it seems to have been taking them a while. So I knew about it, and then I played Jazz Punk, which at this point is over a year old now. And in it, they had this, you are a cat and you must go on a rampage game. And I was like, this seems like a really, really familiar concept. I'm sure I've heard about a game that works very like this somewhere before.
Pretty sure it's out there somewhere.
Yeah, so I don't know which came first, Jazz Punk's Cats minigame or Cat Lateral Damage, or maybe one was inspired by the other. It seems like that's possible.
A never-ending cycle of destructive cat games.
Hooray! I'm kind of okay with this.
It's not the worst cycle in the world, is it?
It's better than the cycle that is Five Nights at Freddy's.
Ooh.
Which has announced the... I don't know if we discussed this. They recently announced the 4th one in the series, which makes four games in the same bloody franchise in the space of less than a year, I think.
Yeah, there's a point where you've slightly gone overkill, and I don't quite see how you can stretch a game out from being in a room being attacked by mechanical monsters to 4 games.
I don't know, somehow he managed it.
People like them jump scares.
Five Nights at Freddy's 1 was literally just August last year.
Wow, that's less than a year, 4 games, and a movie.
Then November was 2. The 3rd one has literally just come out in March, and they've already announced... Apparently this is the final chapter. It won't be less than a year, it'll be a smidge over a year. It's going to be October 31st, woo!
No, it's a shame they're releasing it on a day where there's nothing of significance for that.
Yeah, they could have picked a better date for it. So Five Nights at Freddy's, the final chapter, is going to be October 31st, 2015. So it's in the space of 14 months, 4 bloody games, and I hope they never make any more, for God's sake. That needs to die a death.
If you want to experience the same jump scare you've experienced in 3 other games, this is the game for you.
You can go buy it a 4th time. It's just like GTA, except GTA doesn't sell itself to you quite as many times.
GTA occasionally changes something.
GTA, yes, they sometimes add new things to the formula. They might even do an expansion to things. Good lord. Or make an entirely new city, who knows?
Maybe, I don't know, they'll be in a different amusement park or whatever the hell it is.
I mean, Are we being overly cynical? I don't know if I'm familiar enough with Five Nights at Freddy's 2 and 3 to know how different they are, but I just don't see how different it can be.
I have tried the first one. I have never delved into the second and third, so I couldn't realistically tell you what the difference was.
So we are being a little overly cynical, perhaps. I've seen gameplay of the first one. I've seen people play it, and it's just like, well, this looks terrible. I don't think I would want to touch this, like, at all. I can see the PewDiePie appeal of it, but I don't see the personal appeal of it. So yeah,
It's a thing.
that is a thing. Those are things. Let's talk about things we've been playing.
What a lovely segue that was.
Yeah, Tulkas, what have you been playing?
Oh, Joyce! So...
10 minutes in, we let you talk.
Yeah, I always love when, like, people, like, call on me, like Fixer does, and, like, when I'm doing group board, he's like, Tulkas, what do you think about this? And I'm like, oh, I need to do commentary. It's a wonderful transition from just, like, sitting back, relaxing, watching Michael and his cup of tea, and Meroka and his Yorkshire Terrier just lives the dream.
I don't have a Yorkshire Terrier.
Well, you need to get a Yorkshire Terrier.
I don't know. If I get a pet, it'll be a cat. God damn it.
Where's your patriotism, Yorkshire Terrier?
We don't do patriotism. We're British. We hate everything. Including our own country.
The north of Britain is trying to get into Scotland.
Yes, I mean, I'm also in favour of this, yeah.
Well,
I want to declare Yorkshire independence here.
Starting the Civil War.
Well, yeah, Scotland. Wonderful segue. Tulkas will be in Scotland in a month. So I'm going on many adventures to the Far East. Not that I think that any of y'all care about it, but I'm going to say anyway, because on Wednesday, on Wednesday, I will be leaving, disappearing for over a month to return in early July. I will be leaving the internet. It will be glorious because I will go to Italy and I'll kneel before the Temple of Dius Julius, which inspired the Temple of Dius Nihilus, for those of you in the know. And then I'll be going to Scotland, to Edinburgh, to bounce around there for a few weeks. And apparently I might be going over the border into the land of the Angles to visit Hadrian's Wall. So that'll be a wonderful adventure. But in terms of what I've been playing this week, there is I'm not entirely sure if I'm allowed to announce this, but in true hashtag Rebel format, I'm proud to be the first person to announce in the whole world that the second biannual Strangelands UHC has been recorded, and that it featured me, teamed with Meroka, as part of the
For
reunion.
my sins.
Yeah, the reunion of Team Suicide. And for those of you who remember, Meroka and I, Team Suicide, we won the first UHC, despite me doing everything in my power to kill Meroka myself. Alas, I failed, and we were forced to win. And now, in the no spoilers, of course, but in this new in a few weeks, we'll go out. Me and Meroka, Team Suicide, living the dream. So get yo hype on, woohoo! And
where can the good people listening to this podcast go see that video?
On youtube.com/buttonmashempire.
It's on our channel.
Well, it's on both of our channels.
Are capitalized also. But it'll be exciting, won't it?
It will be on all the channels of all the people who participated. So yes, this channel as well as Tulkas the Valiant and the other 6 people who are less important because they're not as good as us.
Aye.
But we'll probably link to them somewhere when those videos go out. So if you really, really need to see the enemy perspective, the inferior perspective, yeah, you can go watch those, I suppose.
I mean, you say inferior.
If you want to see the people who win, go check out those channels.
Well, we're not allowed to disclose any kind of results at this stage.
Yeah,
so all we can say is that they are inferior to us, which is just kind of a given.
Who do you think won? Let us know in the comments.
Yes, place your bets.
Yeah, place. Oh, here's something I was actually thinking about. Okay, so place your bets in the comments on how many times I hit Meroka during this event. I will tell you that it is at least 1 and at most 5. So you have that range, 1 to 5, to bet on how much Team Suicide will be suicidal. Yo.
The closest bet gets John's Yorkshire Terrier.
Sure. Oh, okay.
Sure, yeah, let's go with that.
Okay, yeah, UHC. Hype. You got anything to say about the UHC, Big M?
Big M. I've never been called that before in my life. I'm not quite sure I want to.
Are we trying to get down with the kids? Is that the market we're going with?
Is that my gangster name now?
Yeah. Team Suicide Gangster rap, yo. Well, yeah, go. Do you have anything to expound upon the UHC? Perhaps you could mention a bit about how much you enjoyed having me as a teammate, how much of an honor and a privilege it was to work with me on this great artwork, stuff like that. Expound.
It was pretty fun. You fixed up your audio a lot from last time, which was much appreciated.
Oh, yeah, that happened. Yeah, that's... Well, the first one was my, for those of you who don't know, it was my first group recording ever in my entire life. So I was just, it was bad in very many ways. That's all first group recordings are. But we have improved since then, hopefully. Especially since I did not use push to talk at any point. So that was happy. But, I guess now we will move on. Oh, Michael, do you have any thoughts on the UHC?
The man who was not there and has only learned about this 2 minutes ago. What do you think?
I think it sounds positively lovely.
Sweet.
Positively
lovely.
Positively lovely. You heard it from the man himself. That man was recently drinking a, quote, cup of tea. And if a man who drinks a cup of tea describes something as positively lovely, you know it's going to be bad. So now we move on to Black Rock Mountain, a Hearthstone adventure. Now I don't really have this... won't really have anything to do with Black Rock Mountain, a Hearthstone adventure. I'm calling it that just because I enjoy saying Black Rock Mountain, a Hearthstone adventure.
This is the part of the show where we become irrelevant, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've gone to make another cup of tea.
I'm enjoying you. Tulkas, you just ramble for 10 minutes.
Cup of tea. Yeah, oh no, that'll be fun. But I don't really have much to say about Black Rock. Because it's just, the meta has been going on as it goes on. One thing that I can note is that on a previous edition of the podcast, the Emperor Thorathon was announced, Emperor Tarzan, as Arturus calls it, and our worthy Meroka here predicted that it would be, alongside me, that it would be a month before it was nerfed. However, Hatboy predicted that it would be a longer time, and it seems like Hatboy won that gamble because Emperor Thorazan has not been nerfed. But that's sort of, that's the interesting thing about Blizzard, is that how they're so lax about banning cards, like, so far nerfing cards, rather. Yeah, nerfing cards. So far they've nerfed, like, Undertaker, which is, like, the most aggressive card ever, and, like, Unleash the Hounds, which is super aggressive. Basically things that the community complains about a lot.
They nerfed Leroy, damn it.
Yeah, Miracle Rogue was also very, very much OP. We'll actually get to that later. But yeah, they nerfed Leroy from 4 mana to 5 mana, and I'm surprised you know about that. But yes,
because I played a bit of Rogue at one point. I didn't own Leroy, but I was aware of the Leroy strat, and so yeah, I'm familiar with much of the mechanics behind that Leroy strategy.
Yeah, the double shadow stab Leroy strategy. Much of that old Miracle Rogue deck has just been nerfed to the ground. Leroy and Bandit Catching that Auctioneer are just, oh dear, Blizzard, they hated that deck. But and it was like, I don't know, it was just like for that few months before Nexteramus came out, it was just Zoo, Miracle Rogue, Handlock, that was it. And the meta sucked, since then it's been good. But yeah, so Miracle Rogue was obviously pretty bad because you could do like 18 damage from your hand in one burst and it wasn't really fair. However, Emperor Thorathon enables the Druid combo if you the Savage Roar, Force of Nature, the combo to deal 22 damage. Previously you need an extra innervate for that, but now if you have with Emperor Thorathon's mono reduction cost, I'm sure the fans of the Button Match podcast are intimately familiar with Emperor Thorathon and Hearthstone in general. But now it just Emperor Thorathon just enables you to just happen to be able to do this 22 damage combo just from your hand randomly. And if you just happen to have a minion on the board, that's like another 6 damage, so you can just like one-turn kill people just because you happened to play Emperor Thorathon. And like, you know what we were talking about just a moment ago with Meroka here, Big M here, was reminiscing about his fun Miracle Rogue times? Well, see, that was 18 damage, now we can do 22 damage or more. So, like, you tell me that Emperor Thorathon ain't OP, I tell you a liar. But that's sort of the thing about Blizzard, that they're so lax with nerfing cards, like Sludge Belcher is overpowered, but then like they aren't going to nerf it because like there's nothing else stopping Zoo from like not Zoo Hunter from reigning supreme, and then like Mad Scientist is overpowered, but then that's the only thing making Secrets even vaguely playable at the moment. There's just like there's a bunch of overpowered cards, but because they're control, or even Sylvanas too, but because they're control and not really super aggro, no one deals with them, and that's sad. But oh well, that's card game. It's the whole old argument about like you can't have the cards on a perfectly level playing field. There's always going to be some really good cards and some really bad cards. You can't even do anything about it. But I don't know. It's interesting. Moving on to Total War Arena is a new Total War game announced by Creative Assembly, the creators of Total Wars. As has been discussed, the possibly the greatest game of all time, aside from Blackrock Mountain, a Hearthstone adventure, possibly. But yes, I got into the closed beta of that. There's a big fancy non-disclosure agreement that is signed, so I can't talk much about it. I don't really care much if like the Butted Bash podcast discloses this, but I mean it's still a good thing to do. I will say this sort of it's a very early alpha build, but basically they're trying to make the old arcade version from the original Total War, and it's non-disclosure agreement.
Yeah, if you got an NDA, best just to leave it. You don't want to get in trouble. You don't want to get me in trouble.
I have a legal disclaimer. We'll be fine.
I don't think your legal disclaimer is going to work if he starts breaching NDAs on our show.
I have said and I pass judgment, and I transfer things over to the great glorious Michael, who will now tell us about Dishonored and Magic: The Gathering.
On our ad.
The views of the Buttermash guest are solely his.
Yes, that's gone. It was not a matter of That's the disclaimer for we're about to say something potentially offensive, not someone is about to say something potentially illegal.
I haven't thought that far ahead.
Yeah,
the need for that disclaimer has not come out yet.
Go on, tell us about Dish on our ad. Dishonored.
Oh, Dishonored. I haven't played it this week, I'm afraid.
You put it on the list. It says you played it.
I forgot to remove it because I'm a moron.
Oh, okay then.
I will tell you that I have played Magic: The Gathering, which is a sort of card game.
I think most people probably are aware of its existence, yes.
I'm hoping so, yes. I'm just
Which
it up
version, as in actual cards, or like a video game version?
No, it was the actual card version.
Oh, right.
So, yes, I must admit, I watched beforehand because knew I was going to play this. I watched the Geek and Sundry version, I think it is.
Right.
That's on YouTube. And
yes, they are YouTubers.
Yeah, I must admit, I got very, very confused as to what I was doing. But playing it is quite more accessible. You can work it out after a while. And yeah, I won all 3 of my games, so I am now proclaiming myself the greatest player of all time, and I will be doing tournaments very soon.
Sweet. Cool. I don't think I've ever played any game of Magic: The Gathering ever in my life, so I really don't know how that works particularly.
Well, the basic idea is you play land, which gives you mana, which once you've got mana you can unleash demons on your opponent. So it's basically a strategy game where you're trying to take points off your opponent.
Sounds really, really similar to a Druid's Duel, actually. Now that you describe it like that, I'm like, hang on, a Druid's Duel was about getting land to get mana, and then once you got the land to get the mana, you can use enemies to take out the... you can use minions to take out enemies and stuff, and it's like, wait, what?
Yeah, I never explained these games pretty well, but was my understanding of it.
Yeah, it's like a rip-off of Hearthstone, isn't it?
Yeah. Close,
yeah, I really don't. I'm not sure it is.
Because it's like 30 years older, so obviously it's a rip-off. They went back in time. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just thinking. I'm not even sure it's mechanically particularly similar. It certainly doesn't sound it from that description, anyway.
I've from what I understand, it's pretty darn like a lot of the Magic: The Gathering pros, like Brian Kibler of Brian Kibler Gaming, are there. I don't know. It's just all I know about Magic: The Gathering is what I've heard talked about in the Hearthstone subreddit. But it sounds like, yeah, definitely a rip-off of Hearthstone, so raise those pitchforks, guy.
All right.
Grr, anger, hate.
I enjoyed the game, and I will hopefully want to play it again.
Yay! Happy Michael!
You have to sink all of your money forever and ever now into booster packs so that you can get cards.
Oh, yeah. I need those shiny demons. I'm waiting for a shiny Charizard to make its appearance in there.
Also, speaking of booster packs...
Ooh, that's a good segue.
EU territories get 2 free Hearthstone booster packs. Apparently.
Yeah, that was the apparently the EU servers had a bunch of difficulties this week, so they gave to Hearthstone Pack this compensation. So like that's 200 gold worth. So I mean it's not really this lot like two packs is going to change anything, but
It doesn't cost
a nice
anything,
gesture.
but it's a goodwill. It's a goodwill gesture, yeah.
Yeah, if the YouTube channel Super Do The Games, who put out what I consider the best video ever released on YouTube, like in the history of YouTube. Like this is one of the two best videos released on YouTube. One is this video, and the other one is Neil Dr. James Cappelmarsh Strangelands application video, which is just glorious. But they put out.
I can't help but feel Rick Astley is a little bit left out of this whole thing.
Never gonna give you
Yeah, they put out a video in which they interviewed the EU server itself, and it was funny. Yeah, I like that channel. They do funny stuff. But yeah, that happened. There will not be a link for that in the video description. But yeah, Meroka.
Fair enough. I have
Meroka.
no idea what you're talking about at this point. So
Meroka.
yeah, I realize you're talking about Meroka.
So,
Meroka.
to link it to Meroka, what have you been playing this week, John?
Oh, that was a nice little segue. I finished Chroma Squad like entirely now.
I have just bought that.
Good man. Good.
I haven't played it yet, so I didn't put it on the list, but I'm looking forward to playing because I've got some days off this week.
It is so good. I'm pretty certain at this point it is probably my game of the year.
Well, I'll play, and next week we will have a discussion about whether or not I agree with you.
I am finding it very, very difficult to imagine that I'm going to play anything else this year that I think is better than Chroma Squad at this point in time. That was such a good game. Yeah, okay. I mean, I think I said the same about Jazzpunk last year in February. I was like, oh, I know it's February, but this is probably my game of the year. I don't think I did give it game of the year in the end. Can't remember what I did give it to. What did I give it to?
I think it's on one of the earlier podcasts. I think it's like...
I'm sure we did talk about it in January, yeah.
Hearthstone.
I definitely didn't give it to Hearthstone.
Your shame is
I'm
great.
pretty sure I would have remembered that. Assassin's Creed, was it?
Yeah, that must have been it. That was probably the one.
Well, we know that you've been converted to Ubisoft now.
Never mind that I didn't play it last year, so...
Okay, that is a slight flaw in that logic, but...
Yeah, I'm trying to find it in my bloody Steam library, because my Steam I've got a section where I put all the the best things. And... I'm not seeing many from last year on there. It could have been... Oh, it would have been... Was Always Sometimes Monsters last year? When was Always Sometimes Monsters out?
Oh god, I can't
Last played June 2014. Yeah, it would have been Always Sometimes Monsters last year. Yeah, that would have been the one. So yeah. I mean, obviously, yeah. At some point, I was like Jazzpunk Game of the Year, and then I was like, oh wait, no, Always Sometimes Monsters is better. So I could be wrong. I could find something better.
But the fact that I've been sold to buy the game by you talking about it is a pretty good indication.
I think you would have bought it the moment I told you it was about Power Rangers anyway.
Okay, yes, I'm weak. I love 90s television. But no, you did a very good sell job on it over the last 2 weeks.
I've been listening to the soundtrack like everywhere. I put it on my phone, and I've just been like listening to it all the time now. It's like I don't often listen to music, but it's got such a good soundtrack. I've just been listening to it everywhere. It's fantastic. And I think looking at the screenshots, I think there are 3 different endings. So a little bit of me tempted to go back and play it another 2 times. A little bit.
Well, you'll have to replay it until it says no at some point.
I probably will. Maybe not just now, because the final battle, I was like, it was like about half past midnight when I was like, you know what, there's only 2 levels left in Chroma Squad. I reckon I can get them through them pretty quickly. I'll be all right. Yeah, sure, I'll just do that. I was like, I've got a video, had some other video rendering on Premiere in the background, and Chroma Squad's not a demanding game, so I was like, I can play this comfortably and have video rendering on the same computer. It's fine. Whew. It was 3 a.m. before I got done. But it was so satisfying.
Complete this, then.
There is an easy mode. I played it on normal mode. If you're not up to the challenge, if you're not familiar with strategy RPG stuff, you can play it on easy. I played it. I played it on normal because I played some strategy stuff. I don't know whether I'd be up to hard mode or not. Could have a look, I suppose.
That's a challenge.
Yeah. But yeah, even after it finished, it just kept going. It just after the credits rolled, it's got this bit with just you and the narrator, and it all went a bit Stanley Parable, and even referenced the Stanley Parable in it as well, which was like,
That's awesome.
okay, that is crazy. And then eventually, if you just kind of just keep going in a very, very, very Stanley Parable-esque section, it gives you like backstory on the whole thing. I was like, whoa, this is really cool. So, yeah. Much Easter eggs after the credits, so definitely keep going. Don't miss that lot. And, yeah. I can't say... I'm trying not to say too much, because obviously it's still a fairly new game, and I don't want to spoil things too much for people. Just play that thing. It's so, so good.
Right, moving on then. What else have you played this week?
Played Invisible Ink, which which is a game I got given when I volunteered at PAX last year. Clay gave out free copies of that to everybody who helped out with things, so they were like, hey, here, have games, and I was like, okay, I will have your game. So I've had it on, I mentioned this last week, I've had it on early access for like a year, and I was just kind of waiting for it to be released. And then it came out last Wednesday, I think. Came out at some point last week. I played it. It's actually much similar to what I played of it in early access a year ago, but I guess they've added more toys, more gadgets, more modes and stuff. It seems to be geared around a lot of replayability. Because I finished and completed it in about 4 to 5 hours on the easiest difficulty, but hey. So yeah, it didn't seem like it was a very long game, like, at all. I mean, if you literally just want to see the final cutscene and how the story ends, and you're like, that's it, that's enough for me. It's like a £15 game, and you're going to get 4 to 5 hours out of it. That's probably not going to be enough for a lot of people, I don't think. Most people are going to be like, that's a really short game for what I just paid. But the intention here is clearly that you go back and do it again and again and again and again and do it differently. So it's a stealth strategy thing, and you get lots of agents to deploy into the field to mix up strategies. They have different skills, different abilities, different cyberpunk augment type things, and they all handle differently. I mean, the two that you get at the start, one, you got Decker, who is just your standard trench coaty, 20th century looking private eye kind of guy. He just moves faster than everyone else. I think that's kind of his only skill. I think he's supposed to be your kind of your vanilla, fairly balanced character. And then he's teamed up with International, who's a red-headed woman with, like, what appear to be earphones grafted onto her head. She never seems to remove them. And she can detect electronic devices through walls, because magic.
Magic solves everything.
Magic or wireless stuff, technology. It's cyberpunk. It's set in 2070, and yeah, it's a lot of it's just techno mumbo jumbo stuff. And it's like, oh yes, devices. They make the things happen, and everything is guarded by firewalls, and you have to crack through firewalls using various hacking devices. A lot of it's that. It's cool, it's got some strategy. Like I say, I think if you just wanted the experience, there might not be a lot there. I could see some replayability. I'm not sure whether I want to go back and replay it or not. I enjoyed what I did play of it, but I don't feel particularly compelled to go and take 2 different agents and go and do it again on a harder difficulty with different settings and stuff. And it's like, I don't know if it's going to be that different. It will be, but not by a lot. I mean, on easy difficulty, the main thing they give you is, well, I think the guards are like easier to take down and avoid and stuff. There's probably more guards, and it's probably a bit messier to take stuff down on a harder difficulty. But yeah, on easy difficulty, it gives you 5 kind of mulligans as well per level. So if you completely screw something up, so say you open a doorway to the next room, and on the other side of it, there's just a guard who was staring at the doorway, and goes, "Oh, there's someone there!" and starts shooting at you. You can just press.
All these things work, yeah.
Yeah, you can just press undo, and he will, go away.
If only real life worked like that, yeah.
Indeed, yes. When I'm sneaking around the headquarters of a mega corporation that runs all of Asia.
It could happen.
Yeah. So So, yeah, it's kind of forgiving on easy difficulty there, but it is designed for you just to get into the game. It's like, oh yeah, on beginner mode, it's just, yeah, you need to start here. My main concern, I think, is a lot of players probably would think of beginner mode as being beneath them. I think games and difficulty kind of have that issue, insofar as a lot of people are like, I'm too good for this. I don't want to start on an easy difficulty. I'm better than easy difficulty. I've been playing games all my life, so easy difficulty is completely beneath me.
It's like arrogance of, well, I've never played this kind of game before, but you know what? I'm a good gamer. I'll start on hard.
Well, I don't know about hard, but I can certainly relate to that kind of sentiment. There's plenty of games I've been like, I don't need to do this on easy. Tell you what, relevant to the day, because they just pushed out a major update to it, like literally as we've been recording this podcast, and I'm going to have to play this later. Roche Fusion, the game I beta tested and got in the credits of because I helped beta test back in February, and my weapon that I helped design and add to the game is going to be added to the game today, so you should go check that out.
What's the weapon?
Plug. The weapon is a remote bomb.
Ah, so you're looking forward to using your bomb.
I'm looking forward to using my bomb. I can not look at explosions as I walk away, because I am a cool guy.
Will you be wearing sunglasses?
The entire description, well, I'm a spaceship. Spaceships don't wear sunglasses, but hey.
Hey, they can do.
The entire description I wrote for it, I don't know whether they ever actually implemented that into the game or not. I'm going to have to find out later. But they asked me to write a name and description for it and everything, and it's like it was all revolving around just cool guys don't look at explosions. So
great name.
Yeah. Well, it's what did I call it? It's the short name as it appears in the levels is just a remote detonation charge, and the short text that will appear underneath it is, I think, cool spaceships don't look at explosions. And then they asked me. Then they've kind of got this sort of weapons almanac thing in the extras where there's like detailed descriptions of all the enemies and all the spaceships and all the weapons in the game and stuff. So I had to write a bit about that. So it's like, oh, its full designation is the Meroka Tech Corporation remote I've probably put some numbers and letters in there. Remote detonation charge. Oh yeah, it was the Meroka Tech Corporation C4000 remote detonation charge Mark III. Is what I called it. It was created by the Meroka Tech Corporation as a solution to the problem of there not being enough ways to walk away from explosions in space. Yeah. And then it went on like that, in that fashion, for a while. It's a bit silly. So yeah, Roche Fusion, I talked about it for a reason. Roche Fusion, that had the issue of the difficulty thing, whereby, and we pointed this out to the devs during testing. It was like, you start out with easy mode and normal mode. Those are the difficulties that the game has. And most people jump into it on normal mode, and they're like, oh, let's do normal mode. I think there's a hard as well, actually, come to think of it, but I can't, is there? No, there isn't. There's easy and normal, actually. And everybody goes in and was like, I'm a gamer, I played games before, I've done shoot 'em ups, let's do normal mode. Normal mode's really difficult, and it's not nearly as much fun because of that, because you can't make as much progress through the game, you can't unlock as many toys, you don't get as much interesting stuff, and by playing it on a hard difficulty, you just kind of have, especially if you were just jumping into the game fresh, you probably wouldn't have as much of a fun time. When you look at all the beta testing that we did, and even that a lot of the stuff the devs did, the one recurring theme everybody came back to time and time again is like, yeah, I don't play this game on normal difficulty, I play it on easy. Everyone was like, everything we do, we play it on easy mode. Easy mode should just be renamed normal, and normal mode should be renamed hard mode, because that's kind of the way it's treated. Normal mode, you actually have... The enemies are not so overwhelming that you can make some decent progress through the game, your weapons are powerful enough to kill them, you can make some good headway, and you'll get a lot of upgrades, you'll get a lot of toys, lots of cool stuff, and it's cool, it's fun, and it's really enjoyable. Then you jump into normal mode, and it's like, oh, this is suddenly overwhelmingly difficult, and I'm really struggling to make any progress, I can't even kill bosses here because they're so much harder, it's really nasty. So, yeah, I feel like with Invisible Ink, there's maybe an element of that. I think that a lot of people are going to jump into the game and go, I know how to do video games, and then they're going to get their asses handed to them on a difficulty that's intended for somebody who has played through the game at least once. because there's a lot of mechanics and depth going on in Invisible Ink, and if you haven't played through that beginner mode, which has the safety net of you can undo a lot of the stuff when you screw up, because you will screw up. You're going to struggle on the later levels. You're just going to struggle through and through on a hard difficulty, I imagine, just because it doesn't have that safety net really there for you. You're going to make mistakes, and if you make a mistake in Invisible Ink, it's pretty nasty, to be honest. There's some pretty bad consequences for making mistakes. If you make a mistake, you're going to, unless you can be pretty tactical about it and come up with some clever stuff, you are often just going to end up getting someone shot, and then that's a real mess to finish the level. If someone gets shot, that's even worse. Because then you've got to get another agent who happens to be carrying a medipack around with them to get to the other agent and revive them, all while not being spotted by anything. All the while the time's ticking. The longer you spend in any level in Invisible Ink, the higher the alarm level rises, and the more stuff comes on to try and intercept you. There'll be more guards will be appearing in the level. There'll be more security cameras coming online. Every time someone's spotted you, they'll suddenly be on alert and they'll start searching around for you. Some guards will just be searching for you naturally. And the longer you're around, that's the worse it is. So if you've got to then take 3 or 4 turns getting up your agent who got shot, you don't want things to go wrong in Invisible Ink. Things need to go right. Otherwise, it's messy. It's very messy. So yeah, and I don't know. In fact, the game says it's tuned around hard difficulty, which is kind of weird. But hey ho. Hopefully people will jump in on beginner, because I think if you jumped in on anything other than beginner, you probably wouldn't enjoy it. I'm now just thinking about Halo, because I know Halo is tuned around, I guess, hard, because they kind of had easy, normal, hard, and very hard were effectively the difficulties. But then when you looked over the descriptions for each of the games, game difficulties, hard mode or heroic mode, it was described as, this is the way Halo is meant to be played. We sort of based the game and tuned the game around this. This is the pure Halo experience. So yeah, game difficulties. I think their naming could use some work.
Yeah, I think maybe. You might be right there.
So Invisible Ink, yeah, I mean, it does say start here on beginner, but I can't help but wonder how many people are going to just jump in on hard mode. And yeah, Roche Fusion, that needs some work. I mean, I think most people sooner or later figure it out in Roche Fusion that you should just play on easy mode, to be honest. Doesn't seem like everybody, though. I can't imagine it would be everybody. I know when they first sent me the game the first time around, a really early kind of beta copy of it, I spent a lot of time playing on normal mode, and I was like, I love this game, but I really can't make any progress in it. I can't kill any of the bosses. This is horrible. It was like, I love the concept, but goddamn is it hard. I was steadfastly playing on normal mode. I don't think it even crossed my mind to play on easy mode. And it was only when they sent me the game the second time around when I was like, oh, I should just play on easy mode, because easy mode is actually really fun.
Was there angelic music when you started playing on easy mode?
Yes. It's got a really good soundtrack, so yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, it seems like there's a few games have that particular issue. And then we've got Crypt of the Necrodancer, where I just have to play on cheaty mode because I can't play it on normal mode.
Is that one of the options, cheaty mode?
It's barred. It's basically... Well, the whole point of Crypt of the Necrodancer is moving to the beat of the music. Bard completely and entirely ignores that mechanic.
Ah, okay.
The Bard can move entirely at his leisure whenever you want, as fast or as slow as you want. There's no restrictions, there's no tying you to the rhythm at all. The rhythm mechanic is just gone. I like that mode.
But it's not really what the game was intended for.
No, Will has already made that argument in the past, but I don't know, for me, I like the dungeon crawling, I like the strategy of it, I like the aesthetic, I like the music, it's a cool game through and through. I am just completely and utterly tone deaf and have no sense of rhythm. So it's not merely frustrating for me, it's frustrating for anybody who tries to watch me to try and ham-fistedly press buttons in time with some sort of beat. It doesn't work out for me, and it doesn't work out for anybody who's watching me, and everyone's just like, Jesus, you're really bad at this, I'm just going to have to stop watching this.
Have you tried listening to disco music to improve your rhythm?
I tried listening to that one song that's in Chroma Squad that's kind of got a bit of a disco beat to it.
Play the funky music, wappo.
Yes, that's the one. That's the that the final boss is played to play that funky music, White Boy.
Is it really?
No, not in the slightest. Oh,
Damn.
to go back to Chrome Squad, I fought the pumpkin, by the way.
All right. Did he do some rapping?
No, it doesn't. No, disappointed there. Yeah, I was really hoping it would be, but no. It's called Punkpin. Yeah.
Oh wow.
And it carries a baseball bat.
Oh wow. I didn't know he had a baseball career.
Well, he mostly uses it for beating people up. I don't think there's too much actual baseball involved.
What a multi-talented pumpkin.
Yeah, it's more sort of for aiming at your kneecaps, I think, really.
Oh, so he's in the mob.
Just sort of breaking legs, really, generally speaking. Just that kind of business.
Just his hobby.
Yeah. And then he turns into Giant Pumpkin, as they do, or Punkpin. As enemies are wont to do in Chroma Squad.
He was forced into a life of crime by his addiction to kneecap smashing.
There is one fight in the game where it's like, you know what, we're not even going to bother with the strategy bit of it. Here's just a bunch of giant monsters for you to go mecha on. I was like, okay. The entire level as it is just like, here's your mecha, now get beating up giant kaijus. It's like, alright, sure.
I think that's the level that I excel at.
Yeah, it's well, there's some strategy to the kaiju fighting as well, which, to be honest, I don't think the game is necessarily super strong at explaining that early on, and the only way I learned how to do that bit well was just by failing badly at it. I mean, the first couple of fights, you can literally pummel the kaiju into the ground without them even hitting you at all, which does not prepare you for actually fighting them when they actually have more health than you can actually hit back. So, in terms of how to do a kaiju fight well, I was not prepared. But I got there in the end. What I will say is just upgrade your mecha as much as you can, because it's really useful.
Yeah, good mecha, good life.
I mean, I'd sort of neglected it. I thought it's the silly monster fight at the end of the thing. It's not a big deal. And then I lost. It may have been to Punkpin. I think Punkpin may have been that fight where it was like, oh Christ, this guy's actually kicking my ass now. And it's like, okay, now let's go back to the drawing board. Let's upgrade our machine and actually learn how to fight well. Because I think my initial strategy was just have lots of finishing moves. I didn't have any real tactic to my fight. It was just like, I had like, you get 4 abilities that you can equip on your mecha, and 3 out of the 4 that I had were just hit the enemy really, really, really hard.
Which, as far as strategies go.
Which isn't a bad strategy, but you don't need that many abilities like that. You don't need them often enough to warrant 3 of them. Given that there are more functional utilitarian abilities that are actually useful in combination with those, that you can sort of get a bit of synergy going, you don't need 3 finishing moves. Kind of by definition. You know? So, the final strategy I ended up with one of the parts I didn't even bother with an ability on, I just went for pure raw stats on that. One of them allowed me to reset the cooldowns on all my other abilities, and then I had 2 finishing moves, so I could do finishing move, reset cooldown, finishing move, reset cooldown, lather, rinse, repeat as often as necessary. Usually, because I was just spamming finishing moves fairly frequently with that setup, there wasn't too much lather, rinse, and repeat actually necessary. So that was cool. That was cool.
Yeah.
I don't even know how we got back into the Chroma Squad thing.
We segued. I can't remember what the segue was.
There was some segue somewhere in the midst of it all.
Everything comes down to a segue.
Yep. That's kind of the bulk of it. Sky Saga is now out for the public, or at least some of the public, but I really haven't found the time to sink into that.
Which you will do, though.
I will do. There's so much other stuff. I mean, something I guess I have totally neglected, because I know I'm so used to glossing over Spiral Nights every week on the podcast. I've just it's kind of autopilot now. It's like I play this every week, but there's never anything to talk about any week. There was this week, so I suppose I should talk about that one. The game actually has some missions which add some story and closure to things.
Good
Yay! Lord. Closure!
Yeah, so it's kind of been hinting at stuff for... there's the whole point of Spiral Nights since launch is like, hey, we're on this mysterious planet, and in the core of the planet, if we can get to the core of the planet, there is a lot of energy in there, and we can use it to fuel our spaceship. Let us get to the core. And we've been waiting for, like, well, the game passed its 4th anniversary a couple of months ago. At this point, there is still, up to last Wednesday, there was no way to get to the core. So it was kind of at the point where for 4 years now we've been sat waiting, going, God damn it, will this thing open? And finally, they have opened it. There have been a couple of levels they've put out in the past which technically went down to a depth within the planet that most people are like, oh, technically this is within the core, and it's like, yeah, but that's not what they intended. It's not, like, officially the core or anything, so it doesn't really count. Nobody actually genuinely believes that. You're silly if you do. But now you can actually get in there and...
Yeah, that does seem weird.
Yeah, now you can actually find out what happened in the story and stuffs, and...
Useful.
Yeah, it hasn't finished the story, though. I was kind of a little bit of me was like, is this it? Is this the end of Spiral Knights? Has it finished now? No, there's hints at more to come, definitely.
There's money in it.
I don't think there's a... Look, this is Spiral Knights. I don't think there's a lot of money in it. All honesty here, I think there's barely enough money to keep the game afloat in it at this point in time.
Don't say that. You'll kill your fan base.
I've said this many times. They know where I stand, and I think a lot of people share the opinion. Let's be honest, nobody who does much Spiral Knights content has done much in months. They've all come out of the woodwork this week because, hey, look, new content, but I'm pretty sure they've all vanished again for the next 3 months or however long it takes them to release more content.
They're back in hibernation.
They've all gone back into yeah. And that's the way it goes. It's like, oh, look, here's 5 new missions. Admittedly, only 2 of them actually had any content, but yeah. It's like, here's 5 new missions. So it was like, hey, do the missions. Okay, we're done with the missions. See you later. Okay. There's not enough stuff in that game to keep people going, so there's that. Speaking of a game that does have more stuff in it, though, I've spent the entire afternoon downloading WildStar again.
Ah.
Because I hadn't realised, but Content Drop 5 for WildStar came out 2 weeks ago, and I totally missed that happening. So, yeah, I need to get back into that. I'd been looking forward to Content Drop 5. I'm pretty sure I'd elaborated on this at some point on the podcast. I was like, yay, Content Drop 5, I want this. I totally missed that it actually came out, so yeah, I want to play that tonight, but I've got other stuff. I've got to do Rush Fusion and stuff as well, so... See what I mean about not having time to do anything? God damn it. It's like, I want to play WildStar. I really, really want to play WildStar. I really, really want to play Sky Saga, but I need to play Rush Fusion right now in my life.
Priorities.
Indeed, yeah. So I never get to play the things I want to play. Which kind of that was the problem with that trial I had for Final Fantasy XIV as well. I was like, I will play this as much as I can, and then I kind of ended up doing a bunch of other stuff, and I never found the time to play it. Such is life. I should stop doing this YouTube thing. It's
Go outside.
Yeah, get some fresh air and play some MMOs.
Probably not as much fun.
Well, I can combine the two. I can open a window while I play it.
Ooh, that's a good compromise.
That's some innovation right there.
That's the first sign of a recovery.
So, 2 things I definitely want to play this week. Yeah, Sky Saga and WildStar. Whether I'm going to find too much time for that, I don't know. But we shall see. I shall try to make the time.
Oh dear.
Oh god, I'll tell you what else. Also, literally updating while we're starting the podcast, Life is Strange Episode 3 is out, so I need to find a couple of hours somewhere to burn through that as well. That'll be something to talk about next week, because I haven't played it yet. But yes, Life is Strange is one of those things that I'm definitely very interested in at the minute, and so Life is Strange Episode 3, yep, that's pretty high priority for me to check out this week.
As the kids say, that's Big M's jam.
Yeah, that is Big M's jam.
Yeah, Big M! Woohoo!
Woo! I guess.
Woo!
You know what? Let's go
move
to a
on.
break.
Yeah, that's a good. This is a good time. Right? It feels natural.
Yeah.
It feels natural.
We'll be back after these messages from our sponsors.
Man, this microphone with such a strong accent. It's great, man.
Recording.
But a Mash podcast is back.
Let's do some...
Rejoice!
Yes, rejoice. And let's do some video gaming news.
And now video gaming news and gossip.
We have... it's not the most barrel scrapey week we've ever had. But
There's a little bit of jelly at the bottom of the barrel.
this is...
Assuming jelly comes in barrels, right?
Barrel jelly. This makes it more sound like something's kind of grown there if it's got jelly, but okay.
It's a new business.
World of Warcraft, because we always talk about World of Warcraft.
Who doesn't?
They banned a lot of people from World of Warcraft.
Yeah, but are they banned or are they can come back after a certain amount of time?
They can come back after a certain amount of time. They banned, I believe, the article got here doesn't actually state figures, but I heard somewhere else they say it's about 100,000 people have been banned, which is like a ridiculous amount of people.
That is quite a lot of people for World of Warcraft.
That is, but basically this is regarding botting, people using programs to play, I guess, PvP for them. So instead of going and playing Capture the Flag like a normal person and earning their points for playing Capture the Flag, they were like, you know what, I don't want to play this game. I want a machine that will play the game for me so that I don't have to play the game. This is obviously what you pay $15 a month for. This is the privilege.
Watch a machine play the game.
Yeah. Well, no, it's so that you can presumably like go out to work and it will probably play PvP for you all day, and you can come back at the end of the day and you've got lots of points and you can spend those points on better equipment and stuff. It's cheating, is what it is through and through, to be honest. But I guess it's been around a while because they're saying it's been running. Honor Buddy is the program that's been caught here, and they've been running it since apparently 2010. And apparently, so it's also a paid bit of software, so you have to buy Honor Buddy, and that would. So you pay someone else money in order to cheat at the game that you pay money for, and then Blizzard have caught everyone. Honor Buddy thought they were sort of below the radar up to this point. They were like, yes, they were undetectable. Nobody can do anything about us. And now Blizzard have done something about them and banned everybody that was using it for 6 months, including some people who've been subscribed for like 10 years straight, which is crazy sauce.
So Tulkas can actually weigh in on this because a similar thing happened in Hearthstone.
I figured it might have done.
Recently. Yeah, back in the day, this was immediately after Nextdoor, I think, there was a big sort of botting wave in Hearthstone. Basically, a lot of people were sort of using shaman bots to try to reach... they're actually able to reach Legend, which is a strange thing with a weird, like, sea giant shaman deck. And you'd know as soon as you faced it, like, you see shaman, like, beep boop, beep boop, here's bot again. Because, shaman's never really been the most,
I can't help but feel that if you can reach Legend without ever actually having to play the game yourself, I feel like that's a design flaw in the game.
Well, it's less that, like, they were able to get there consistently. It's more that, like, it's... Yeah, sort of, in a way, but it's just that, like...
If you manage to create an algorithm of predetermined cards that literally can't be beaten by some of the best players in the game, that's a problem.
But here's my philosophy on something like this. If I've paid for something, I want to get my enjoyment out of it. I want to bet my money's worth. For God's sake, I bought Honeypop and I had to play that.
Some people don't feel quite so attached to their money, though.
I mean, like, and there are people like me that has not spent anything on Hearthstone, but I don't know. It's just like obviously, like, you just happen to win enough games to rank up. Like, it's not like the bots are going like 25 wins in a row to Legend. It's just like you have a bot long enough, and by random chance it happens to reach Legend. I mean,
so this is monkeys on typewriters at this point, is it?
I mean, yeah, and also like the deck they were playing, Shaman, was sort of very much directly designed to be like, it's not like they were playing a quote unquote high skill deck. It's like it's just Shaman, but yeah, it's. I don't know. It was a very interesting thing that happened, but eventually, sort of Blizzard just sort of came up out of nowhere and gave them a 3-month ban so that they would be back in time to spend money on Goblins versus Gnomes. So that was fun. And while there are occasionally still bots, it's very, very, very much reduced from back in the old days. So it's just like it's barely even a thing anymore. But yeah, they just banned. I mean, obviously it's a free-to-play game. Like, it's just accounts that are free to play. You just make new accounts. So it's just they just ban them for 3 months, and it's sort of like the thing is that when you have the bots on, you can make 100 gold just from winning a day. And then you have your quests, and then they would use it to try to get the golden hero frames. I have golden priest also. That's cool, but I don't know. It's just it was I don't know. It's just it's something that was. So, I mean, it's obviously a similar thing. Just because it's sort of like the whole like temporary ban thing is interesting because it makes people not want to just go onto another account and do that because then you got all your stuff back and whatever. It's just I don't know. It's interesting.
So yeah, the World of Warcraft one. That's kind of. I don't know, it's just kind of shitty. I guess the fact that it's been on for 5 years, like, it seems like there's a bit lax on Blizzard's part more so than anything else. It's almost like, oh yeah, we've been letting you get away with it, and suddenly it's like everybody who's sort of started using it in the last 5 years, suddenly it's like, everybody gone now. So
yeah, that was the sort of thing with bots too, that the bots were just like there for so long, but I think it was more that like Blizzard wanted to have everyone banned in one big wave rather than just like have an incremental wave so that the botters would have time to adapt and evolve and stuff. But I don't know, it was just, we were like, oh, getting mad about Blizzard not banning the bot, and then they did ban the bot, so we were happy, but I don't know, it's just, like, from what I understand, it's just that, like the people in the Hearthstone things talking about botting in World of Warcraft, that, like, this whole botting thing in World of Warcraft really just sort of destroyed WoW's economy system thing, so...
I mean, the 2 points I'd kind of like to touch on regarding this one is, firstly, that Blizzard, historically, I think people would have said Blizzard were much, much more harsh on these kind of things. Normally, it's like, you're caught using a bot or something, it's like, permabanned. That's what you get for messing in World of Warcraft. Doesn't seem like they necessarily want to start kicking out subscribers who are paying their money by the hundreds of thousands at a time now. It's like, oh, we've got like a significant percentage of our player base at this point. I mean, heck, what are we looking at? The figures, I think they've dropped back below about 10 million subscribers now, haven't they, at some point? World of Warcraft, they're below 10 million. So 100,000, that's like 1% of your player base. They're just straight up banned, which is quite a significant chunk when we're talking about that kind of stuff.
It's like the opium wars when 1% of China was addicted. That 1% was such a massive number. It just they went to war over it. Yeah.
So
history,
yeah, I mean,
see, I know about British history. That's a piece of British history that I told y'all. So there.
I'm very glad that we've brought some culture to the Button Mash podcast at last. Opium history.
It's not something I knew about anyway, but I never studied history.
I know more about British history than you do. So there.
Okay, fine.
I can live with that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not up on my British history generally anyway, because I didn't take history at school, so yeah.
Your shame is great.
Yeah, something like that. I did ancient history. I know things that had mythology and gods and stuffs. That's the interesting bit.
I am a classics major, so I also know this.
Cool.
World of Warcraft.
World of Warcraft has many instances of mythology and things in it. I'm quite sure there are roots in a lot of stuff, so that's kind of why that sort of thing's interesting.
Bringing it all together, boys.
Yeah. The other point that I had is that I've forgotten the other point that I had. The other one was, Blizzard seem to be sort of... They're going soft, maybe, because they don't want to lose as many people anymore.
Well, 100,000 people's a pretty significant number of people to stop giving you money.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's, like, again, that's, $15 a piece. That's over $1 million a month. You literally just said, you know what, we don't want that anymore.
Yeah, it seems like WoW does seem to be sort of on the wane. So those are 100,000 people you might never get back. Like, you just might not like if you ban these people, you might never have that number of people playing WoW ever again. So
well, if you perma-ban them, you definitely wouldn't. Whereas if you give them a 6-month ban, they might be back in 6 months. That's the difference. Yeah,
assuming they don't go outside and get their lives back.
Yeah, they got 6 months of sunlight.
That's always the threat of leaving World of Warcraft.
The other point I wanted to touch on is that the guys who are selling the software that allows you to bot, they're still happy to sell you that through the website.
In case you have not picked up the hint,
Which is really scummy. You can download it, you can pay for it, and you can download it, but it won't run and it won't do anything for you.
So we're giving the official button mash tip. Don't use it.
If you play World of Warcraft and you're botting, maybe don't do it. That's kind of our pro tip for the day.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 6-month ban. You could probably survive, but nah.
Nah.
Just play Hearthstone.
Well, yeah. That's always an alternative. Unless they ban you at like a Battle.net account level.
Oof.
Oh, my.
I don't know how they do it. It might be, it might not be.
You'd have to start playing Minecraft. Wow.
You have to start playing WildStar.
Ooh.
Or Sky Saga.
Segway.
Or Spiral Knights. Come play Spiral Knights. 100,000 people, that would like multiply the entire population of Spiral Knights several fold. That would do good things for Spiral Knights. Yeah, you 100,000 people who can't play the game anymore, come play ours. Don't bot though. We don't want any botters in lockdown. No, but come play the game with us. It'd be great. Anyway, other news. Moving on. Kickstarter done goofed, sort of, in a weird kind of way.
Explain, young Jonathan.
There is a campaign for a game called Dimension Drive by Two Awesome Studio, who I was actually aware of this Kickstarter campaign because they are friends with the guys who made Roche Fusion. So the Roche Fusion guys have been talking about it a lot on Twitter and stuffs. They wanted 30,000 euros. They got to like the final day of their Kickstarter campaign and were 7,000 euros short, and someone donated 7,000 euros. And much celebration was had. They were great.
Yeah.
This was like, this was final day. 31 minutes before the end of the campaign, Kickstarter took down that 7,000 pledge.
Oh, what? Really? Whoa.
Because it was a stolen credit card.
Oh, well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, or something, sorry. It's a fraudulent pledge. I presume it's something of the sort, yeah. So someone got a stolen card and was basically used the system to mess with some otherwise good guys, which is really nasty. Normally there are kind of fail-safes in this. It's with Kickstarter, if you want to remove your pledge at any point, normally you're okay to do that. If you change your mind mid-campaign and say, you know what, actually I decide I don't want to give these guys my money anymore, they're usually broadly across the board fairly okay with it. Except in one instance where you're removing your pledge specifically will bring the total down below their target. If your pledge is literally the matter of life and death, the thing that will take them below their target, normally they won't let you do that without jumping through a bunch of sort of security hoops. You're going to have to make a phone call to Kickstarter and speak to the developers and stuff for themselves and say, hey guys, I really don't want to do this, I've changed my mind, I really, that $10, I need that to live on this month, please, for the love of God, give me it back. That kind of situation.
At which point you're not getting that $10 back.
Well, no, at that point they might, if they're really nice. But literally, normally it's that kind of situation. So normally if you're like, oh, I really want to pull out this $7,000, I really regret this $7,000, normally you would have to go through a lot of customer support to get to that stage.
You're going to be on hold a lot.
And if the campaign finishes and then that kind of card went through and the payment was declined and whatnot, that wouldn't matter. The guys would have still seen the other 23,000. And we're like, oh, that payment didn't go through. Oh, well, crap, that's kind of a kicker. We've lost like a quarter of our money, but at least they got to keep 3/4 of the money. Now, what happened in this case is Kickstarter found that the payment was fraudulent and then pulled that payment from their Kickstarter campaign, dragging them back 7,000 euros below their target with 31 minutes to go at the end of their Kickstarter.
Ooh,
which is really nasty, which means they didn't see any of the money. At all.
That's a shame.
And of course, Kickstarter campaigns, when they run on that kind of scale, once you're actually, I know, I'd like to say we've got experience running a Kickstarter campaign, because we do, but we didn't
We never went after the amount of
we did.
nature.
Yeah, we didn't approach it like full-time job kind of approach, because we weren't looking for 5-figure sums. We were looking for 3-figure sums, frankly. So ours was much more manageable. But when you are looking for
Thank you very much to everybody that donated on that.
Yes, thank you indeed.
It was 2 years ago, but thank you.
If any of those people are listening to this podcast, which is really unlikely, but yes, thank you.
Just throwing it out there, just in case.
If you donated to our Kickstarter campaign, leave a comment below.
Yes, let us know.
But why did you
Did you get value for money?
So, someone, take it one at a time, please, guys.
Tulkas, you go.
Oh, Tulkas, you go.
Why did you have a Kickstarter?
To fund the return of our doing the real-world physical events things that we do.
Ooh, fancy.
Michael, you go.
But that donation to Kickstarter was value for money? Let us know. If not, keep it to yourself.
Yeah. So yeah, they put a lot of effort into that, much more effort than we put into our campaign, and as a consequence, they are too absolutely exhausted to ever think about doing that again. So I don't know what's going to happen. I hope Kickstarter can resolve that one, because that's a really sucky situation.
Yeah, it's a shame for the developer, isn't it? Really, just think that you've actually got the game going, and then end up with nothing.
Yeah. I say it's just it's kind of almost this weird kind of loophole in the system that someone found, which everyone's saying, "Oh, it's a troll, it's a troll." I mean, yeah, maybe, or if it was, that would, like I say, they managed to very, very explicitly exploit a very specific loophole, and well, it was very clever, but really, really nasty. So yeah. Shame on them.
Whoever you are, if you are listening to this, you're a dick.
Yep.
Just throwing it out.
I also hate you.
It's a shame, because Dimension Drive actually looked pretty cool.
Well, maybe.
So I hope they can make something happen, because I wouldn't mind seeing that.
Yeah,
I mean, it does seem like sort of that from Kickstarter's perspective, like it's difficult to do, because like on the one hand they didn't reach their donation goal.
Yeah, this is true.
Then like if you set a precedent of like letting them have their money, then like that could have a precedent of like, ooh, like people doing more fraudulent things to try to game the system or whatever. But on the other hand, there's just such a clear-cut case of a developer that got funded, but then suddenly, due to no fault of their own, didn't get funded, that I do think that it sounds like they should make an exception in this case and just let them have their money, because like 31 minutes to go, like that's just not fair for anyone.
Like I say, the fact is, if whoever was responsible for tracking down fraud and dealing with fraudulent issues at Kickstarter had taken a mere half hour to, sit and have a coffee and then maybe get on with some work later on in the afternoon at some other point, if they'd been a bit slower about dealing with it, that would have they would have been funded, the payments would have been processed, and then they would have just literally fallen £7,000 short in the payment.
Yeah, it was just...
That 31 minutes was literally the difference between receiving 23,000 and receiving nothing.
It's just... Or I mean, even just like try to extend the Kickstarter at least to try to get 7,000. Like, there should be something that should be done to help these developers.
Well, that is something they're looking at. I mean, they've asked Kickstarter for an extension. They've said, look, we've been kind of screwed over here. Can we get an extension on this campaign now?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that Kickstarter should give them the extension. Well, hopefully they do respond. I don't know. Yeah,
of course, this is the you didn't hit the target, but you still get paid, is of course the business model of pretty much every Kickstarter competitor. That's kind of... It almost feels like a way to get money without actually having to deliver on any kind of product as well, though, in a lot of instances, which is why I don't necessarily think the other kind of competitors are as good. You've got stuff like Indiegogo, where that's like, oh, you didn't make your target, but you can still have the money anyway, don't worry about it. It's like, oh, you need $500,000 for this project, and you've only made 10,000? Oh, never mind, you can have the 10,000 anyway. It's like, what are they going to do with that? You've just given them $10,000 for nothing.
Yeah, and I mean, that's sort of always the problem, that like you set a precedent off not doing that. But I think that like if you make an exception for like just this once, to be clear that it's not something that will happen again, that you're going to work into trying to prevent this from sort of thing from happening in the future, then maybe like, I don't know, it's a shame.
We'll keep our eye on it, and we'll report on it in the future, I guess.
Yeah, if there's any updates, it'll be something to keep an eye on, definitely.
We will quote unquote report on it. Breaking news from the Button Mash podcast.
Yes.
Because we're
very timely about these things.
Oh, yeah.
Following up on Kickstarter, More games are really obtaining silly amounts of money for spiritual successors.
Yep.
You've not seen Castlevania. The former Castlevania producer is making a very, very Castlevania-looking game, and they're currently at, let me find out, a very, very silly amount of money.
How silly are we talking?
$2,337,969 in 5 days.
Chuckles the Clown has just had a heart attack.
And they wanted $500,000, so they've and that number is still ticking up.
Chuckles the Clown has come back to life and his head exploded. That's how silly that is.
It does look very pretty, though. I gotta say, I haven't backed it, but I'm very tempted to back it. It looks cool.
Yeah, because they need the money.
Well, I'm not interested in it's like, oh, I need to support these guys now. It's more, I want the game. So, yeah, that's estimated delivery March 2017. There will be a new Castlevania game coming out on PC that looks like lots of the cool old 2D Castlevania games that apparently... I mean, I think a lot of it is... It's certainly with these big ones, it's kind of... We've already done a lot of the work we need. We just need to prove that there is support for it. Certainly with this one, he's like, oh yeah, we've made like most of the game. This game's kind of... A lot of it's done. We just need to show that there are the numbers here. We want to prove to our publisher that, actually there are tens of thousands of people out there who are really, 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 really want to see this kind of thing and totally would buy it, because that's the only reason they need to go to Kickstarter in the first place, is because publishers are like, Castlevania. Who wants a Castlevania? Nobody wants a Castlevania game anymore. So he's gone on Kickstarter and gone, hey guys, does anybody want a Castlevania game again? And everyone's going, ooh, yeah, I want a Castlevania game.
There's a slight demand.
Yeah, it's the same as the Banjo-Kazooie thing. I think it's like... I think everybody generally you look at kind of big publishers and you're like, hey, what about 3D character platformers? Does anybody like those anymore? And you get your Microsofts and whatnot like, no, nobody's going to buy those. Your money would be better spent elsewhere. It's like, oh, guys, what if we made a game about a dynamic lizard and bat combination and called it Ukulele, and they had to jump around in a colourful world and collect lots of collectibles? Does anybody want anything like that? Anybody at all?
Money now.
Yeah. So publishers just don't have a freaking clue. Let's be honest.
This is true.
So yay! So this is cool. Another cool Kickstarter. Well, I hope this is going to be cool. I hope this. There's still always the risk that one of these could go, let's be honest, double fine out of it. But hey, I would like to hope it doesn't.
We live in eternal hope.
Yeah. So, woo. Kickstarter making cool things, maybe. Just buyer beware. Be careful with your money.
Think about it before you do.
Think about it before you do, but I'm probably going to throw my money at this.
The views of the Bomash host are his.
Yeah. Cool. And this brings us to the dregs of the barrel.
This is the jelly.
I just grabbed this. It is indeed the jelly. I grabbed this just because it was so freaking depressing.
Go on then, depress me.
Which is, Candy Crush Saga will be pre-installed on Windows 10. Which is probably one of the most depressing sentences I will ever have to say in my life. I'm pretty sure.
What if I don't want Candy Crush Saga on my Windows
computer? Think you can... Well, it's installed in the same way that something like Minesweeper or Solitaire is installed on your computer. So I don't know if... I guess there probably is a way to remove that, but... Yeesh.
Yeah.
The fact is on principle.
I mean, on principle, what is significant about this is that Candy Crush Saga is a freemium game. It's, you play it for a while, and then after you've gotten hooked on it, basically, it starts asking you for money. Whereas, that never happened in Minesweeper. You didn't clear half the board and then it was like, oh, in order to remove any more tiles, you're going to have to pay money. Oh, do you want to place another flag to mark another mine? That'll be $1, please.
Somewhere the creator of Minesweeper has gone, my god, I've missed a trick.
Yeah. It didn't happen in Solitaire either. It's not like, oh, would you like to go through the deck of cards one more time? That'll be $1.50.
Do you want to see an ace? Do you need an ace?
That would break the game, but yeah, I get where you're going. No, that never happened. And for greater shame, Where the heck is Space Cadet Pinball these days?
Yes,
Nobody wants Candy Crush Saga. Nobody in the world wants Candy Crush Saga. Everybody wants Space Cadet Pinball.
Surely.
Yes.
I wasted many an hour of my life on that pinball game.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Screw studying for GCSEs when pinball was to be played.
This is just a disturbing precedent that they're willing to... Unless this is like some entirely different version, which is just entirely just a free game like Solitaire and Minesweeper, but I can't envision the creators of Candy Crush Saga. That doesn't seem like King's MO. I don't seem like the kind of people to put out a free game for free for people to enjoy for free.
Well, I guess the idea behind it is parents play it with their kids, kid gets addicted,
It
kid
could
makes them spend money.
It could be. Well, yeah, obviously that's the business model, but I'm wondering if they could do it for free in sort of a sort of kind of a brand awareness kind of thing. It's like, oh, I really enjoy playing Candy Crush Saga on my PC, but if only I had a way to play it on the go. Oh, it's on my phone? Okay, I'll play it on my phone. Oh, would you like to crush more candies for $1, please?
Yeah, it seems like having the whole microtransaction in something pre-installed in Windows, that just seems like really weird, because like, in chess or whatever, you don't have microtransactions, and it's just like the base Windows 10 stuff, so it's like you might not even have an internet connection or whatever, so it seems like having it be pre-installed would be something that just wouldn't really work. I mean, it's possible that it's just something that Candy Crush Saga, whether you really like it or not, is one of the most popular games in the world. Like every time I'm on Facebook, just like, this person got Candy Crush Saga, this person got Candy Crush Saga. I mean, it is something that's very popular, and I wouldn't be surprised if, like, I don't know, Windows was playing royalties or something, but
the problem is, I don't... You say it's popular. I feel it's more addictive than it is enjoyable. It's one of those kind of games where exactly. It's like it preys on people's addictions more so than anything else.
Well, yes, it does, but it is still popular. Like it isn't a good game. It isn't an enjoyable experience, but it is popular. I mean, yeah. A lot of people... It is
successful.
Yeah, well, it is popular in that the populace is playing it, so it is popular because it is played by the populace of people that are playing it to be, yeah. But
it's just if they're going to add these kind of freemium things to Windows, that's, like I say, it's a disturbing precedent. It means they could start adding more of this kind of thing. That's not the kind of thing you want installed by base with your operating system. I don't want to install Windows just to have Windows push apps in my face that are begging me for money. That's not why I install Windows.
I mean, a big question here is if it is paid or not. But I mean, like there's stuff like, chess or whatever on there. Like, obviously it's a very different sort of thing. But I mean, it's sort of, you can see where they're coming from, that, the Windows should have a sort of base number of games that people like to play, just a base sort of threshold of, and like Candy Crush, it's a simple game. It's not really enjoyable, but again, it is sort of popular. I can see why it would make sense for the Windows devs to want something that is as ubiquitous as Candy Crush Saga on Windows. Not to say that it's a good thing, because it probably isn't, but I don't know.
Why not Angry Birds or something, though?
That's a very good question, actually.
Angry Birds would fit the bill, Is like, if you wanted to add something that is genuinely free to Windows to just complement the library of things like Solitaire and Minesweeper, why wouldn't you just add Angry Birds? Angry Birds seems like a much more solid choice. A slightly more original choice as well than Candy Crush, which is literally just match 3.
Meroka dispenses his wisdom onto us all. Yes, I do agree.
Cool. We are in agreement. Alright, well, with that depressing news, let's do game releases.
And now, game releases for the week!
Hooray! This week I've totally forgotten to find the place on the page where I need to be, so...
The first game is Witcher 3.
It is Witcher 3. I can't find where I am. There's Witcher 3, that looks like a thing. Witcher 3...
Samurai
what?
Guy. Sorry, I'm just going with the pictures.
It's Slavic, I believe, is the mythology behind it all.
Oh,
it's made by a Polish studio, so... It's kind of... I believe it's kind of in their neck of the woods.
Okay, right, yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, this is Witcher 3. If you're not familiar with Witcher 3, crawl out from under your rock and look for Witcher 3. It's out on all the things. It's probably one of the most anticipated games at the moment.
And you can also have Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Collector's Edition. Same day. I don't know what the difference is.
They will probably add extra things to the Collector's Edition. Seems likely.
But yep, that's out on the same day.
The Collector's Edition comes with stickers, a map, the soundtrack, I guess an art book, is that? A polystone figure of Geralt of Rivia battling a griffin, a collector edition medallion, a steelbook, which is just your metal case, I guess, 200-page art book, and huge outer and inner collector's boxes to store everything in. So that sounds like that's the kind of thing that's going to set you back a bit of money, I'm going to be honest.
If you want to spend your money on that, feel free.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like that's a £40, £50 kind of standard collector's edition kind of deal. That sounds like that's more of a £40 and £100 kind of edition.
It's, yeah. Maybe for the hardcore fans only, that one.
Well, I think there's plenty of them out there. I think a lot of people would probably buy into the figurine. Looks like it could be pretty cool. Certainly Witcher 1 and 2 were pretty popular. I think Witcher 1 was kind of one of those slow burn kind of things. I think it kind of got a bit of a cult following, and then Witcher 2 was obviously pretty successful. So yeah, a lot of hype behind this. This is, Witcher 3. We have Ride, which is... I feel like we've looked at this at some point, have we not? This is a game about motorcycles, with heavy focus on bike customization.
Yeah, I'm sure we've talked about this before.
I'm pretty sure we've mentioned this at some stage. It's maybe like... oh, it's out on PS4. It may already be out on other stuff already, I guess.
Probably out on PC.
Yep. We have Farming Simulator 15.
With a wonderful picture of a tractor.
Yes. I thought there was already... Yeah, I was going to say, I thought there was one out already. Yeah, it says released October 2014, so... Oh, this is out on all the consoles now. Alright, so...
okay.
Where you've been able to play it on PC for the last 8 months, now it's come to console.
Now you can play it on the PS4.
Yay! Farming!
Yeah, driving tractors around your 30 FPS box.
There isn't really much more to say about it.
Yeah, I think you know how farming works.
We're hoping so, anyway.
Hyperdimension Neptunia Rebirth 2 Sisters Generation.
What a title.
Which is presumably the sequel to Hyperdimension Neptunia Rebirth 1. Which came out not that long ago. It was also on... I also saw it was on sale on Humble, because it popped up on Reddit at one point, and everyone was like, oh, this is actually really good. Like I say, I did watch a tiny bit of the anime at some point, because it's like, oh, it's anthropomorphized video games consoles. I was like, well, that sounds like my kind of thing.
Was it?
Well, there's a lot of fan service. I'm okay with fan service, but it was like a little bit too much fan service. At the point it was like at this point you were like now foregoing plot in favor of fan service.
Some anime does that.
Some anime does that. Yeah, this one kind of does that, I think. So yes, more role-playing game stuff in that universe, as well as Hyperdimension Neptunia U Action Unleashed. Sorry, Tulkas?
No. Yay. Hi. Yeah.
Hi. Okay.
Okay.
Yes. A Wii U? Is it Neptune? Oh no. Is it Wii U?
Vita.
Oh, the fact they had U in the name, I assumed it was a Wii U. No, it's a Vita version. Okay. Yes, there is a spin-off for the Vita. Okay. More of the same, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Anime.
Arcade Archives Terra Cresta for the PS4, which is, I guess, an arcade archive. It has the official Nintendo seal of quality on it. It's from 1986. It was originally on the ZX Spectrum.
Good
as
Lord.
well.
That's taking you back.
Yeah, so that's like a... How old is that? That's nearly 30. That's a very nearly 30-year-old vertical scrolling shoot 'em up.
So, if you're into your nostalgia, that might be one for you.
Yeah. Aces of the Luftwaffe for the PS4.
I'm getting the feeling this might be about the war.
It is apparently a bullet hell game about the war. It appears to be a mobile port, so that sounds delightful.
Yeah, it doesn't look particularly enthralling, does it?
No, I've got Alien Shooter for the Vita, which is from 2003.
Looks much older.
I haven't. Well, let's see the screenshots. It is for the. Ooh, yeah. That doesn't look phenomenal.
Well, why do we have to shoot the aliens? Why can't we be friends?
Because
If we were here, he would have jumped all over you for that.
That's true. Swords and Soldiers 2 for the Wii U, which is from the same guys who made Awesome Noughts.
Yeah.
Awesome Nuts!
That is the one. Yes. I played the original Swords and Soldiers on my phone at some point. It weren't bad. It killed some time. I think I was on holiday and didn't have much access to much other entertainment, so I was pretty bored to do it. But as far as really, really, really linear RTSs go, it kind of works. That's what it is, linear RTS. There are two lines of rows of armies marching at each other, and you must spawn more tactical things than the enemy to overcome their line of enemies marching towards your base.
Maybe not walking in a line.
Sorry?
Maybe like not walking in a line.
Well, no, that's not how that works. That's not the game.
Ah, generals, you failed us again.
Techno Babylon, an upcoming cyberpunk point-and-click adventure by Wadjet Eye, set in 2087 in a world of surveillance, drugs, and artificial intelligence.
Charming.
Which looks interesting. Cyberpunk is always kind of cool. But it's point-and-click, so I suspect there will be strangely arcane puzzles, which would be really ridiculous to figure out. Because that's how point-and-click works, generally speaking. Shapes of Grey. There are not 50 of them. That would be strange.
So shameless cash-ins.
Yes. Top-down action game with an arcade-style high-score structure that has players try to progress through 10-second combat levels as quickly as possible. Yeah? Are there any... I kind of want... Yeah, I want some screenshots of this, and Giant Bomb is not forthcoming on that. However, if I search for it, is it going to have anything... Okay, mercifully it doesn't have anything to do with Shades of Grey. No, actually, I know I tell a lie. There's quite a lot of results pop up for Shades of Grey.
So much bondage, so little time.
It has apparently been described as the WarioWare of Dark Souls. Interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
It is available on itch. Oh no, it's not available. The game is currently unavailable, it says. Okay. It's on green light. Strange creature. Okay, that's a bizarre one. So that is out on the Wii U. Is it? Was that the Wii U? Yeah. And we've got Puzzles and Dragons Z, Puzzles and Dragons Super Mario Bros. Edition for the 3DS. Which I think is... if I recall correctly, is this not Nintendo's answer to something like Puzzle Quest?
Yeah, it would appear so.
Which...
Yeah, it seems just like a game themed around Mario.
Yeah, I mean, I keep saying... It's one of those things I've said a few times in recent history. It's like, I wish there were more things like Puzzle Quest. And it kind of seems like there are a lot of things that are suddenly now like, oh shit, yeah, we should make more things like Puzzle Quest. And all of a sudden there's a bunch popping up, including Mario in this case. So, if I had a 3DS, I would probably play that. Yeah. Well, I guess it would be worth checking out Puzzles and Dragons before Puzzles and Dragons Mario, just to get the original pure experience. But there you go. I guess that's kind of a two for pack anyway. You kind of get both things in one box there.
Yeah, I think that's how it worked.
Anyway, let's do some Steam releases.
Yay!
That's the jingle now for Steam.
Oh, is it? Okay then. We've got The Witcher 3. I mean, obvs. It's The Witcher 3. We have Love at First Sight.
I'm pretty sure this was a film.
This is the one I was telling you about before we started.
Oh, okay, right.
The absolutely horrifying visual novel thing.
Describe it for the good folk at home.
It is a game about falling in love at first sight with the Shachi Usui, an injury-ridden, single-eyed high school girl. And when they say single-eyed, it's not like, oh, she's got an eye patch on or anything. It's literally, she has one eye and it is about the size of her head. If one were to extract what is visible of her eyeball to, what must be internal, it's about the size of her brain. and the rest of her entire skull cage must just be nothing but eye socket. It's pretty horrifying to imagine that such a creature could exist.
But it is a pretty shade of auburn.
Yeah, I guess it's got that going
It
for
may
it.
be creepy, it may be giant, maybe massive, but it's that lovable shade of brown that you are just entranced by.
You might be.
You can't stop staring at it.
You can't stop staring at it in the same way that you can't stop staring at a train crash. It's not that you're in love with the train crash, it's that it's so horrifying that you must watch.
It's how I imagine Chuckle of Oz is. You can't stop watching it. Doesn't that you know it's bad?
Oh, there's an interesting segue, because we haven't done that yet this week.
The Barry Chuckle update of the week.
Tell us about Barry Chuckle, Michael.
Give me the drum roll. Barry Chuckle is alive and well.
Good.
And
Cool.
I encourage everyone to check out his Twitter at Baz Elliott for the slightly hilarious photo of Barry Chuckle being lifted off the ground by balloons.
Okay, right. Is this a recent thing?
It's the day before. But he only sent out one tweet, so it's not that hard to find.
Hang on. Baz Elliott? Actually, I was going to say, when you type Barry Chuckle into Twitter, there are
It comes
quite a
up,
lot.
yeah.
I was going to say, there's Barry _ Chuckle is like Barry Chuckle. I can't see Baz Elliott now. So, is it just Twitter / Baz Elliott, all one word? I need to see this.
Baz
say?
Elliott.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Paul is trying to save him.
As is somebody who looks vaguely familiar from the
I
TV,
think there is-
but I can't place him.
I think there is another Chuckle brother, but
The third Chuckle brother. Oh my god.
yeah, there is. He never made it onto the TV show. He just does all the live shows of him.
Really? They look different. They look old.
Well, they are old.
Well, yes. Okay. Fair enough.
About 50 years of Chuckle Vision will do that to a man.
Just Chuckle Vision, just as an entity, just age as a person.
Yep.
Alrighty.
Back to the games.
Back to the games. We've got D-Series Off-Road Racing Simulation.
Is this a racing simulator by any chance?
It is a racing simulator indeed.
Okay, right, wonderful.
It looks rally-ish if you're looking for a rally-type thing. There's lots of that. Although the trailer I saw, it had lots of stuff with lots of ridiculously deep mud in it. I don't know if it's like somewhere between rally and spin tires, but I don't know.
Sounds rally.
It sounds like driving around in things that probably won't terribly compel me. We have Gran Vitrius. Gran Vitrius is a PC shoot 'em up that looks kind of a lot like Geometry Wars in many ways. Nothing inherently wrong with that. Looks like it's mechanically more complex than Geometry Wars, but it's got much of the same aesthetic kind of going on. Maybe a little bit less flashy, but hey. Okay, and that weapon is literally just lifted from Roche Fusion. What the shit?
It's not your bomb thing, is it?
No, it was the tri-laser, except it had quad laser instead of tri. They added an extra laser to it.
Well, more lasers equal more power.
Well, yes, but it's the same mechanic. Okay, never mind. We have Neon Struct, which is something neon and something German. The logo says Neon Struct Die Organ der Welt.
Ah. Yeah, that was good German.
It probably wasn't, but okay. You are Gillian Cleary, an ex-spy on the run, framed for treason and hunted by a former agency. You must move in secret, survive off the grid, and find a way to clear your name. Old friends and new allies will lend their support, but with the eyes of the world upon you, who can you trust?
Yeah, okay. That sounds alright.
It's like super low poly stuff. I don't know if that's the aesthetic they're going for, if they just didn't have the budget for more polygons.
The resources.
I'm not quite sure what to make of this. It's described as being like a stealth thing, but it's not very forthcoming in details, so... Could be interesting, maybe? Potentially?
But will it be brilliant?
I'm doubtful that that will be brilliant, but you know what might be?
Segway it, baby, segway it.
Brilliant Bob! Although, looking at the trailer, I suspect Brilliant Bob might not be all that brilliant either.
Oof.
Sorry!
I think it was attacked by a hyena.
Are you enjoying the trailer,
Wow.
Tulkas?
That's his parents were taken.
Yes.
Oh, is that the alien? Oh, the doctor. And now he's on. What on this? We have a cube. We have the what?
It looks like...
What?
I would say it's
Wow.
potentially trying to be like... Well, I think it's just doing
Furious
the 3D...
enemies.
It's just the 3D character platformer thing, which all of a sudden is like, oh, suddenly this is like flavor of the month, because, you know, Banjo-Kazooie and all that.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got a Hat in Time, we've got ukulele. It is becoming the flavor of the month thing. It just doesn't look fun in the same way that the others do. It's just like, this just looks like a really mediocre one.
It looks like something that would be fun to
the
mock.
protagonist is literally a purple cube. It's like, so much for the charm of the lovable bear and bird duo or anything, you know. No, you are a purple cube with arms and legs.
This looks like, you know, you could make a really good Let's Play off this, just mocking it mercilessly.
I'm sure many people probably will, actually. Also, even in the trailer, the platforming looks really bad. They've got lots of wall jumping, and then the walls are kind of like flickering in and out of existence. And it's like, are you literally documenting graphical bugs here for your trailer, or are the walls like really finicky about you jumping on them? I don't know what to make of this, but I don't think I want to play it.
No.
Oh
no.
god, and then there's just
Well,
floating crates hanging in the sky that you must parkour your way across. I'm out. I am totally out on that.
Has the sun set on a possibility of playing Brilliant Bob?
I think it
What?
has.
Okay, so button mash tip of the week: do not play Brilliant Bob.
No. So you're totally missing the segue that Michael was trying to do there. And the next game is Sunset.
I tried.
You tried. I only caught what you were trying to do as I was saying something else anyway. This is Sunset. I know Fix has been going on about this for a while, so...
It takes place in America, so we have that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Fixer, we should have Fixer on the show to tell us about this one. You are Angela Burns, a US immigrant in a small Latin American country ruled by a military dictatorship in 1972. You take care of the luxurious penthouse of Gabriel Ortega once a week, an hour before sunset. And then a violent uprising breaks out in the metropolis below.
How unfortunate.
Yep. You're
Oh,
armed
it's not-
with a feather duster and you have 1 hour to quell the uprising with your feather duster or something. Which actually sounds pretty interesting. I wouldn't
Huh.
mind taking a look at that, if I'm honest.
Well, this looks unique.
This
Is
is
it-
Tale of Tales. I think these are the guys that did Luxuria Superbia, I think? Oh, Christ, they've done a bunch of stuff, actually. They did Biento Lete, which is the game about two people falling in love on the beach or something. And you can play with, like, complete strangers, I believe. It's like, it's just an online game, two people, and you must meet and fall in love on the beach, and you could be playing with God knows who, anyone on the internet, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, this
And-
looks like an interesting concept.
And then there was Luxuria Superbia, which was literally the video game which was a metaphor for cunnilingus. I'm not even kidding, that's literally what it was. So that was interesting.
Interloper.
Interloper. I've got a review copy for this. I really should do something with it. They sent me a copy for the beta that they did a while back, but they sent it to me like 2 days after I'd finished playing Boyd, and it looks exactly the same mechanically as Boyd, really. Even visually, it doesn't look a million miles different. It's real-time strategy with swimmy underwater creatures based around nodes and a few different classes. Actually, I thought it was, but now that I'm looking at the trailer, it seems like it might be a little different. I'm going to have to take a look at this, I guess. There might be a bit more to it than I initially gave it credit for.
This is why you don't judge a game by its cover.
Well, yeah. There certainly seems to be some sort of turn the board your colour kind of strategy going on to it. It seems like the environment changes colour depending on the territory that you own. Yeah, what I saw of it a few months back, it definitely did just... When I looked at it, it was like, this looks exactly like Boyd. So, I kind of gave it a miss. I guess I'll probably have a look, at least a brief look at this some point this week, I suppose. Whether I'll get a chance to make a video out of it or not, I don't know, but I'll have a look just for the sake of giving it a chance. Epanalepsis!
Well, great name.
I don't know what it means. It's a point-and-click adventure game that tells a story about those connections across... tells a story about those connections? What connections? Those connections across 60 years and beyond that pays homage to new wave science fiction and cyberpunk dystopian stories and the art cinema of the early 1990s. That sounds pretentious as all hell.
It does. It really, really
does.
I was like, even more so than the driving home through the rain game.
So the connection of narrative and point-and-click games. Is that the connection between narrative, like as narration, and point-and-click adventure games? Or maybe the connection between point-and-click and adventure games. Maybe the connection between adventure and game. Who knows? Play this game to find out.
Yeah. And then integrating new wave science fiction, cyberpunk dystopia, and art cinema of the 90s.
Oh, look at that. Rachel goes out drinking every night. Anthony plays his video games. Oh, Anthony. These two. Oh dear. Wow.
Anyway, moving on, we've got Crossfire Dungeons. Crossfire Dungeons being a turn-based strategy game, which looks really, really pretty retro. It does not look like the most cutting edge of titles, if we're honest.
No, it's not really jumping out at me.
No, it looks like something that could easily have been from 10 to 20 years ago. Quite comfortably, I would have said. Oh well, there you go. Turn-based strategy.
Let's look at Bunker, the underground game.
Bunker, the underground. This is more point-and-click. We've had a lot of point-and-click today.
So we have.
I think it's point-and-click. It looks very point-and-clicky.
Yeah.
It's a point-and-click set in an underground Soviet bunker. There is a screenshot in which involves a giant hippo in space laser cannoning the moon. Make of that what you will.
So the description is, this is Bunker, the underground game. You have probably never heard of it, but since you have, you are one of the cool kids. Hey, Big M, you're a cool kid now. Congrats!
I was always one of the cool kids.
But now you're an extra cool kid.
Okay, cool.
What happened to you, man? You used to be cool.
I'm trying to think. I can't remember the Abe Simpson quote now.
I'm still cool.
No, I was like, I used to be with it, but then they changed what it was, and now what I'm with isn't it, and what's it is strange and weird to me. That's the one I was trying to think of.
That one's better.
Yeah, this looks super hipstery. I think it knows it's hipstery though. So yeah, point-and-click hipsters in a Soviet bunker.
Because that's the best place for them.
I also put that on the list. It also does. Actually, I didn't realize that actually doesn't have a release date on it other than 2015. It might not even be this week. It might be like December. Who knows?
It might be a coming.
We've got 8-Bit Adventures, the Forgotten Journey Remastered Edition.
Okay.
Which is something that looks like a really old Final Fantasy kind of game. It's super low-res pixel art, top-down RPG kind of thing with probably some turn-based combats. Although it looks a little bit silly. There's one of the enemies is Mean Mr. Tree.
What is it with trees being villains in video games?
Don't know. I don't know. I was going to say, just as a game, the screenshots are not selling on it. It's like, what does this do that Final Fantasy didn't do the better part of 30 years ago? Is that how, like, when was the first? Oh, this is one of those things I want to Google now. When was the first Final Fantasy?
God, it was,
Does anybody know that one?
Probably before my lifetime.
It probably was, yes. I need to know these things. These are important to me.
Early 90s?
First Final Fantasy was, 1987.
Good lord.
Wow.
It was a good year.
That's older than me.
Yeah, December 1987. It is. I am only 3 months older than Final Fantasy as an entire franchise.
Congratulations.
So yeah, it's. If as I say, it could be It could be more silly, but I don't know. Kind of hard to make anything out from screenshots alone.
Oh, it seems to. There was a wizard named Gandalf in the trailer. I saw the wizard was named Gandalf, and also that guy looks like Link, like someone that looks like Link from Zelda, I think. Wow. Yay, copyright.
Yeah. Okay. References to weird things. Loop.
Gandalf is a weird thing.
Sorry. Gandalf is weird.
No, he's one of these star eyes. Gandalf is actually sort of related. He's sort of my cousin in a way.
Okay.
Well, yeah,
I presume you're referring to your fictional character.
Tulkas, yeah, Tulkas.
Okay.
Sort of were mentioned on the same page. Sort of like they introduced me to be like the big strong guy, and then it's like him, and he's just sort of like chilling. Yeah, my lore character could beat up his lore character. Yeah.
Cool.
Loop.
Anyway, Loop is a tranquil puzzle game. I don't want to get him started on the Lord of the Rings again. We know where that goes. It doesn't end. This is a puzzle game which appears to be apparently inspired by Zen philosophy, which involves a hex-based grid in which you must move hexes around and try and link the lines up to make a loop. That looks... I'm not going to lie, that looks...
enthralling.
I've heard it's reasonably good, but it looks like the sort of thing that would frustrate the ever-loving hell out of me. That sounds like my idea of hell. Yeesh. It does have a colorblind mode, so kudos to them for that.
Yeah, that's something.
Worm Sun is another really old-styled real-time strategy thing. That appears to have like different styles. Some of it's like 3D and then some of it's like 2D. That's really weird.
Yeah, that is strange.
It has elements of mythology,
history, and fiction. Oh, I like that.
Yeah. But once again, it looks like something that's probably better part of 20 years old. Tompy Jones.
No relation to Tom Jones.
I was gonna say that looking at the logo, it seems like they were more going for the Indiana kind of thing.
Yay, Indiana!
As in Indiana Jones. But
I live in Indiana.
Great, now we can stalk you.
No, I'm currently existing within Indiana, so there. Yeah, I'm looking out. That's an Indiana tree I see out my window. An Indiana car, and an Indiana stop sign, and an Indiana road construction sign. Yeah, it's got all. It's Who's Your
Did you see Indiana Jones?
No.
Well, then I'm not interested in your Indianas. It doesn't have the best Indiana.
In Indiana, it's in Indianapolis, you know?
Oh, if you lived in Indiana and your name was Jones, you could call yourself Indiana Jones.
No, you couldn't, but okay.
Yes, you could.
No, you couldn't.
That's how names work.
No.
I went into Depot and told them.
We will call you Yorkshire Meroka.
Yeah, go with that, sure.
I don't know your last name. It's a tough name.
You don't need to know my last name. This is
No,
the
I
internet,
don't.
and it does not need to be
No.
broadcast on the internet.
I don't need to know it, but if I did know it, then I would have said it right there, and it would have made a cool joke.
I would have bleeped you out. Don't worry, Michael's done that before.
But it would have been a cool joke.
Mm-hmm. Anyway,
about the
Tompy
game.
Jones. Sorry?
About the game.
Yeah, the game. Tompy Jones is a 2.5D platform thing that also looks really bad.
Okay,
Doesn't look great.
Van Helsing 2.
So the Tompy. Can I just say the Tompy Jones trailer? They've got black borders on both the top and the sides of the video. God damn it, guys!
Yeah.
If you're gonna do a trailer, at least fit it to the bloody video window.
But it's hard work.
Yes, The Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing 3.
2.
Did I put two on the? Oh, it's 3. Sorry,
Oh,
I missed it. I missed an I.
I don't believe you.
This is I've not played any of the Van Helsing stuff, so I don't know much about the Van Helsing thing, other than I suspect he fights monsters and things. That's what he historically has done.
I'm imagining it's not just him by the pool drinking a martini.
Well, I imagine you can do that once you've slain all the monsters. You can rest on your laurels. But
DLC.
yes, this is... The civil war is over in Bulgrovia, but the future still looks grim. The city of weird science is in ruins and strange cult prophecies of the coming of the end times. I imagine if you like Van Helsing things and have played the first two Van Helsings, maybe this is some Van Helsing you're interested in. I am not familiar with the first two Van Helsing things, so this means very little to me. There are some pretty cool mech-looking things going on, so mechs are cool. Steampunk mechs, no less. I'm okay with steampunk mechs.
Who isn't?
Well, valid points, I suppose. There you go, I think that is us for the week, is it not? Yeah.
I believe so.
Yay!
So, before we go, Tulkas, tell the fine people what you're doing this week and where they can find it.
Well, this week I'm preparing to leave to Italy, so I'm trying to have some videos recorded for when I'm away. Might not, I don't know. But yeah, I am at youtube.com/TulkasValiant. It's all one world. The T in Tulkas is capitalized, nothing else is. Also, another fun fact is that Matt in the Hat recently joined the Strangeland server. In fact, his first episode went out all of half an hour ago. And we have previously shouted him out on the Button Mash podcast, but we actually shouted him out incorrectly. He is
oh yeah,
Hat Matt Games. The H, the M, and the G are capitalized, and Hat has 2 T's, and it's all one word. Yeah, but he's a new Strange-lander.
So it's super easy to remember, right?
Sort of, yeah.
I will never forget that.
But you know, the next time Meroka has a Strangelands episode, his name will be in the video description, so y'all can go check him out and subscribe and show some support for the newest member of Strangelands. But yeah,
I suspect that next episode might be UHC.
Well, you could try to get an episode out before then. I mean,
I've got too much other stuff to play, I'm afraid, my good man.
Well, okay, alas. But yes,
I got Rush Fusion, which is...
I mean, you still got to
There's another Rush Fusion update. There have been 2 updates today. What the heck? There's another one scheduled on Steam right now.
Well, you have to contract Pasta to do the top of Strange Tower, for one thing. But
oh, yeah.
Regardless, yeah, so, yes, that is what Tulkas will be doing, and when I'm away, I'm going to try to have Rome Total War for the 2 viewers that series currently has, and Minecraft Adventure Map, obviously the UHC, and other stuff. So yeah, Tulkas Valiant, Champion of War, Laughing Warrior, over and out.
Cool. Well, Michael, do you want to do the stuff closer to home?
Why not? Thank you very much for listening to the Button Mash podcast. We truly do appreciate it. If you want to find out more about Button Mash, you can find us on Facebook at
Facebook.com/buttonmash.
You can follow us on Twitter at
Twitter.com/button_mash_UK.
You can find us on Steam at
bit.ly/BM-Steam.
You can check out our website at
button-mash.net.
And if you happen to find upon 20 quid and feel like giving it to John, I don't know why, but okay. You can follow his Patreon series at YouTube, and that can be found at...
Well, those words made no sense, but yes, if you want to give me money, you can go to patreon.com/buttonmash and get extra video content every week for you to watch. Currently we're playing Spore. If you like Spore, we're going through space and doing that. Space!
And if next weekend you happen to find yourself in Bradford and want to do something out in the town, feel good, you can come to our Button Mash event, Button Mash 11, which will be on the 30th of May, and we'll be starting from 3 till 8. We'll have the usual stuff. We'll have retro gaming, we'll have the rock band room, we'll have Joust, and we'll have the Mashronaut tournament.
We will probably also be out this Saturday as well, because our friends at the Joshua Project in Bradford are hosting a gaming event in Centenary Square by the Bradford Big Screen. If you're in the Bradford area, I'm sure you'll be familiar with the Big Screen. The big one, it's pretty big.
It's next to the fountain.
There'll be video games on there, and we'll be hanging around telling people to come down to Button Mash, so...
and I believe
if you want some autographs...
Yeah, if you want John's autograph.
Yeah.
And it is for charity, so please feel free to come down.
Come down, check it out, it'll be cool.
Once again, thank you very much for listening to the Button Mash podcast. We truly do appreciate it, on behalf of myself, and on behalf of John.
And on behalf of me.
Yep, and on behalf of Tulkas, this has been the Button Mash podcast. Thank you very much for listening. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.